Oh,
And there we go.
welcome
Oh,
everybody to another episode of Pages from Rock Bottom. I'm Matt.
and I'm Kim, and tonight we are joined with Amanda Elizabeth. And we were having some technical difficulties, but I do want to say viewer discretion is advised. We will be talking about felony charges, addiction, criminal justice system, incarceration, etc. So if you are triggered easily, please, there is a trigger warning. There might be some profanity because
No, there will be.
there will be.
Yeah.
There might. So, welcome, Amanda. How are you? Tell us about yourself, who you are, and where you're from.
I'm Amanda. I live in Portsmouth, Ohio right now, but I'm originally from Athens County, Ohio. Um, I lived in Portsmouth for about 4 years. No, yeah, 4 years. West Union for about a year before that. I want to start with my clean dates, and my clean date is December 11th of 2020. So I got 5 years, 1 month, and 3 days clean, something like that, something real
There
close to
you
that.
go. That's awesome. Yeah, that's
um,
awesome. She almost had it down to the.
yeah, pretty clear. I think that's right. Pretty sure that's right. It's
Yeah.
14th. um, so I'm going to start back as early as I can really remember. Um, so, growing up, I had a pretty good childhood. I can't complain. My parents really did everything financially to give me everything that I wanted, made sure I was in sports, made sure I was engaged in things. I think I even twirled baton at one point in time in my life in
What?
parades. Um, you know, uh, but when I became a teenager, things got a little bit more rocky. I started realizing, that um, there's a lot of heavy drinking in my household. There was a lot of fighting, a lot of yelling, um, and those kind of things kind of made me detour from wanting to be home. So I really hung out up the street a lot. And for whatever reason, in this little small town I lived in called Coolville, Ohio, in Athens County, it's like a mile long. You
Coolville,
blink,
Ohio.
yeah, you blink, you miss it.
Oh,
They
that's
put
awesome.
these random benches uh, on the side of the roads, and we don't have buses that like run through Coolville or anything like
Right.
that. So I'm not real sure what they were for. Maybe for the kids waiting for the school bus, but the school's right across the street. I'm not
Maybe.
real sure. Uh, but I started hanging out with people, that were a lot older than me. So I'm 13. They're 27, 30 years old. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I started smoking weed, drinking. I really tried to stay away from home. Um, One thing that really stood out to me the most as a teenager was the lack of emotional connection with my
Mm.
parents, mental connection with my parents. They were always financially there for the most part. Um, and that's something that I still struggle with today. Um, so when I was about, I don't know, I can remember my dad and mom coming to somebody's house looking for me. I was really drunk. They pulled me out of the house. I was sleeping with a man that was 30 years old. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and I can remember just I always went back to that person. I was always going back to that person. And then there just became a point in time where like they just didn't come looking for me anymore. I got to be 16 years old. I got a car that they bought for me. They always financially,
Yeah.
food wise, I had all of that stuff. Um, I was still engaged in sports at that point. I really just kept my grades uh, high enough to play sports. At that point, I just started playing softball, and that's it. Like I played softball since I was 5 years old. I gave up the rest of the sports. and I was never really home. Once I got a car, I was never really home. I can remember getting, I think I got like 3 reckless operations for driving too fast when I was a teenager, and they took my license. However, I'd never had any consequences for that either. My keys were never taken from me. I was really allowed to do just about anything I wanted to do. And so I remember being 16 and the drug dog coming to the school
Yeah, the
right
dare
before
dog.
Christmas. Yes, right before Christmas. And I already knew that the dog was going to hit on my car because I knew I smoked weed in my car that morning. I knew that there was an empty Adderall capsule where you put like where your cigarette lighter's at, and
Yeah.
that I had alcohol in the back of my car. So, and my car wasn't even supposed to be on the property because they knew I didn't have my license.
Mm.
So they called my license plate, and I went out there. That was my first time that they were like, if you go to this drug and alcohol treatment, outpatient treatment, we won't charge you. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a good gig. And in my head,
Yeah.
even at that point, I was like, that's perfect. I can get these gas vouchers from Job and Family Services, and
Yes.
that pays my gas
Yes.
to get to school. So that was manipulation right there. I was always really good at lying and manipulating, even at a very young age. I was really good at twisting words to make something sound really good. And I did that as a teenager then too. So during that time frame, my mom ended up leaving my father, um, and she moved in with her wife. I mean, it's her wife now, her girlfriend then, and I was left there with my father. Um, she just didn't come home from work one night,
Yeah.
and then my whole life changed. Going from having everything I ever wanted, financially wise, I went to having a father that was grieving, and I was already not being raised. I really wasn't being raised then.
Yeah.
And I can
Well, did
remember,
it kind of give you abandonment issues too?
Yeah. It's
yes,
for me,
yes,
for sure.
I still do. I have severe trust issues. I have, it's hard for me to let really anybody get close to me. People think they're close to me, but they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still very good at wearing that mask where I keep people at a distance so they can't hurt me,
Yeah.
And so my life changed
Yeah.
then. And my dad, I can remember never being home. And I was always drinking, smoking weed. I started doing pain pills. He didn't care where I was. Nobody cared where I really was. My phone bill was still always paid. I still always had gas in my car. So financially, like I said again, I always had somebody there. But emotionally, mentally, physically, nobody was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my dad, I went out to the garage one night, and this moment sticks out to me a lot because it impacted my life a lot and the way I viewed relationships a lot. My dad, I went out to the garage, and he had a gun on the table, and I asked him what it was for, and he just started crying. And I took the gun and I ran in the house and I locked the door, and I had to call the police on my dad. I had to.
Yeah.
I didn't have really any other option besides call the cops on my dad because I don't know what else to do because I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
They came and took my dad to be mentally evaluated. I remember my Uncle Tom coming down and taking all the guns out of the safe. And my dad was released, and But that had a big impact on me, and I just didn't understand. I didn't understand why my mom didn't want to be in my life, or why she wasn't around, uh, or any of that. So it took a strain on our relationship, and it still does today. Um, and so I don't know. My dad still grieved for years. I ended up not graduating high school. I missed too many days of school. My parents, they ended up paying for the summer school. Like, I got to walk across the stage and make it look like I graduated from high school, but I didn't graduate in 2010. I didn't graduate. And I was supposed to do this summer school. And so I moved to Marietta, and I got this apartment. And I remember this floor; it was crooked. Like, you lay a ball down, and it just went.
Yeah,
Living in this little apartment to get away from everybody. At this point, I can at least get this little apartment with somebody I don't even know, some girl, and we're going to be telemarketers. Okay, we're gonna sell accidental death and dismemberment insurance. Okay.
Okay.
And then we're gonna walk the walking bridge every night and go to the bar when we get off work. You know, that was my solution, because my whole life. Yes, my whole life.
Yeah.
I saw people drinking, and that was the solution. That was the solution. You just drink so you don't have to feel nothing. You know.
Yeah.
And so I did that for a while, and I was supposed to be driving back and forth to summer school. And I can remember getting a flat tire in the rain, and my Uncle Ronnie coming up, and he changed my tire. But it took him like 25 minutes to get there. And by the time I got to summer school, they told me I was kicked out. They just kicked me out. You know, my parents paid for it, but they kicked me out. So that happened. Ended up going back to that apartment. I think I was even huffing air duster and stuff.
Oh, truth.
And then we ended up losing that apartment, and I ended up right back at my dad's again. And mind you, like, me and my dad have a good relationship. However, when I don't have a way to support myself, I can't say that relationship would be the same if I had to solely rely just on him. You know what I mean? It makes the whole dynamic a little bit different. So, so I ended up back there, and that's a toxic environment for me. You know, not only that, but he's still grieving. He was with my mom for, I think, 32 years altogether. I want to say they were married for 23. That could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah.
And
then
then
finally, definitely that relationship for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I start living at my dad's again. I start having a friend over, a girl that's my friend, and she brings heroin over, and she's shooting it up in my bathroom. I was like, you know, yeah, let me try. So I did it, and you know, I fell in love with heroin and the needle. And at that time in my life, did I know that my body would be physically dependent to a substance? I absolutely had no knowledge of that whatsoever. Would it have been different if I did? I have no idea. But so I kept doing heroin. I manipulated my dad, my mom for money. I think maybe even my Aunt Marla a few times. Mainly my father. I would say that there was anything wrong with me. Like, I would make up these, I got some disease, or I'm dying, or I need an abortion. Like, I took it all the way there, you know. I can remember starting arguments with him to take me to go get medication, knowing I have Medicaid, but telling him I don't, and starting an argument before we even get there, just so he won't go in, so I can get my medicine that's actually there, but I'm keeping the money so I can buy my dope.
Yeah.
And so I hung out with this lady up the road, and I was shooting 30s.
Wow.
I was about 18 years old then, 18. And then I meet my son's father. And when I met my son's father, I stopped shooting up. I don't think I was at that point where I was physically dependent at that point in time. Like I don't know, I was able to put it down. So I found out I was pregnant the first month that we got together. I stayed clean throughout my pregnancy with my son. When my son was 8 months old, I ended up doing correspondence assignments through the University of Kentucky for my high school diploma. I ended up getting my diploma from my home school that says 2010, but I didn't graduate till 2012. But it says 2010. So I was able to take my final exams there and get that. But then him and we just went down a same rocky path, drinking, doing cocaine, and having my son in the car and drinking and doing cocaine. I'm 19 years old. I was in college at the time, so I was going to school while we were doing all these things somehow. And then I ended up having to have gallbladder surgery, and it was supposed to be a simple surgery, and it wasn't. So I bled internally for 4 days.
Oh.
The blood was just sitting in my stomach. And I had to have emergency surgery. So this was back in 2013, before they made it where you could get pain pills in Ohio and pain pills in West Virginia. So I got my pain pills in Ohio, and then I ended up with pain pills in West Virginia too. That was before they changed all that.
Yeah.
And I ended up with 22 staples in my stomach. I was in ICU for 7 days.
Could you imagine?
I can't recall anybody visiting me. I'm sure people called me. I'm sure I had my phone, besides my son's father. So I really went on a spiral after that. I had all these pain pills, and I did not want to share them with anybody. And because pain pills were my thing, they took away all the pain all the time. I didn't have to feel anything. To me, it was better than alcohol. You know what I mean? Way better than anything. So I'm secretly buying pain pills on the side because I started a job at like Taco Bell or something. And I remember my son's father coming up there and ask me where I'm at. And I'm like, oh, I'm in here at work. And he's like, are you? Because I'm in the parking lot.
Oh, shit, yeah.
And I wasn't there. I was out chasing pain pills.
Yeah.
Not working. I got fired from my job. And then when my son was 3 years old, his dad passed away. So that'd been 2015. He went left to center and he hit a semi. And that really took a big toll on me. And I'd just like to say too, throughout all this, I still, I know I was a young adult, but I still had no guidance on what I was supposed to be doing in life. I was just trying to wing it, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I had no idea. So he passed away, and I
think that didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that like even me, it took me to 36 years old to figure out you know what I mean, what to do in life. Because I too, my parents were both alcoholics. My dad was an alcoholic drug addict, but like I didn't have that guidance either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah. And
it's hard.
It is hard. and rebuilding those relationships is hard, especially when you like get the knowledge that you do have, and you just
Yeah.
wished everybody understood the way that you understand. But you got to remember that you got to meet people where they're at, and it's not on my terms. It's, just meeting people where they are. And that's probably one of the hardest things to learn, is that I can't just set expectations on people and expect them to be exactly what I want them to be, because that's not realistic.
No, because you're going to be let down for sure. You know what I mean? You're going to be let down for sure.
Yeah. So I ended up, doing all the things and all the stuff to get money, get this apartment, having a sugar daddy, all those things that come with that, and then I end up losing it all too. And I can recall, I want to say it was 2016. 2016. My son, let me see here, 2000. Yep. He was 5 years old. I ended up hitting a guy in the head with a metal bed frame. And I ended up losing my son that night. So I was one of those parents that drugged their kid with them everywhere. I thought that I could take care of him better than anybody.
Yep.
And I had him with me. Now, that situation wasn't to be malicious. I thought somebody was coming through the window, and I didn't know who it was. But turns out it was the owner of the house. But we got into an argument. Yeah. We got into an argument, and he'd turned the breaker off, the electric off. And I couldn't see. I asked who it was. They didn't answer. And that was just my first instinct was, to whoever it is, they're not harming me and my child.
Yeah, and your son. Yeah.
So I run to the next dope house with my kid. The police end up showing up there. I come outside because there's a lot of people in that house. And I ended up losing my son that night. So I was arrested. And the weirdest thing that still dawns on me today, though, that I can recall is the police leaving my son at the dope house. Like, they knew it was the dope house. You know what I mean? I know. But the thing is like, things could be a lot different today. And I'll get to that here in just a minute. So my son was taken to my dad the next morning. And I'm begging and pleading, get out of jail. Nobody ever bailed me out of jail. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But my dad was not equipped, nor was the house that I destroyed equipped to take care of my son. When I'm talking, I had probably syringes hidden all over that house, or dope bags. I'm telling you, it was everywhere. The house was destroyed because I destroyed it. And I went from one county jail to the next because I had a warrant in another county as well. And I called my mom, and my mom begged and pleaded with me to sign, I don't know, it was temporary custody or emergency custody over my son, because CPS was going to take him from my dad or something. So she came up to the jail, and I still remember this, and I don't know why I can't just let it go, but she told me, if I sign those papers, I'm going to bond you out of jail. Okay, I'm going to sign the papers. I'm going to sign them. You're going to have them. And she didn't bond me out of jail. I sat there. And, it's probably her way of getting me to sign them. I'm sure I was being pretty resistant.
Yeah.
Towards signing those papers. I don't recall everything I said then, but I do know that those words were said. So I sat there. I don't know how long I sat there, for a while, because she revoked my bond or whatever it was, my PO.
Yeah.
And I did my time for my charge, like my whole time. It was an OVI, so I stayed in there. And during that time, my mom took my son to North Carolina. So at this time, you know, I was 25. Yeah, it's 25. She took my son to North Carolina. I get out of jail. And where do I have to go? Right back to the same house that I've always went to. With no phone, no car, no job, no nothing, expecting to succeed, you know. And in my brain, you know, I
Yeah.
should have known better. I'm an adult now, figure it out. Uh, but I used that as a reason to use. You know, I
Yeah.
used that as leverage for a reason to use for forever. And I would just be like, oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. I'm the way I am. You know, as a 25-year-old person at this time, it's like, you went to AA and jail. You should know better. Like, it's not their fault anymore. It's not. You're an adult. And I use that. So, and then I lived homeless for like 2 years in Parkersburg, West Virginia. I don't know if you guys know where that's at, but I lived on the streets there for no apparent reason. I mean, I could have went back to my dad's if I wanted to, but I chose to.
Yeah.
Chose to live a very rough grind. And then I moved to Meigs
Do you
County.
think it
So
was just out of resentment?
what is it?
Do you think it was just out of resentment?
I think I just want so badly to be away from there. I don't know that I don't resent my dad at all. It just wasn't mentally for my mental health was not good for my mental health at all. And neither was the street, but the drugs were on the street. You know what I mean? The drugs were on the street.
Yeah.
So you got to go to the street to get the drugs. So,
Yeah. You find drugs anywhere,
I think
realistically.
during that time, I ended up getting indicted on 21 felonies. So I'd like for fraud, receiving stolen property, and identity theft. And my dad told me because they never could serve me my indictment because I was never at my dad's, and he actually ended up signing for my indictment because they had to give me my indictment. And I was scared to death, you know. What?
He said he didn't know somebody else could sign for it.
Well,
I think eventually they just say screw it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You know, after they try to contact you for so long, because usually when they indict you on something, they'll arrest you in the process.
Yeah, well, they couldn't find me, but they did find me. So that's the thing. So they did find me. I was back and forth between Athens County, Athens to Parkersburg, and I know for sure that I committed one of those felonies of each charge. I did not commit all of those, but I went down for all of them. Which is fine. You know, I dealt with it. I've done a lot worse that I just shrug it off at this point in time. You know what I mean? It's in the past. But I would get arrested in West Virginia for nothing, just getting picked up on the street and being held for Athens County to come get me. And I did that back and forth, like, because I was a fugitive of justice. Because I never go to court, never go to see probation. I never do any of that. Because I was dirty. I'm not going. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just move to Meigs County. That's what I'll do. I'm just going to move to Meigs County. I'm just going to move to a whole different county in Ohio. And then they won't bother me. They're not going to find me. Because I don't know if you guys know anything about Meigs County, but it's out in the cut. Like, out in the woods. Okay. And I get with this guy, you know, and I think he's the love of my life. And he just beats the shit out of me.
Oh shit.
All the time. And
Those are
I
the
did
ones
that.
we always think are the loves of our lives, the ones
Uh,
that beat the shit out of us. It's so
yeah,
weird.
yeah, the love of my life.
Yeah, such
And I
fucked
did,
up shit.
I did that for like a year, and then on and off for a year. Um, I remember, like, putting my dad in situations with that man that I should have never put him in. My dad holding a gun to his head and telling him get off the property. Like, I stole everything from my dad that wasn't nailed down at that point in my life. I would like to say when I got out of jail in 2016, I did quit shooting up. So, but I was still using. But my dad, it got so bad that he screwed every window shut in the house and put a padlock on the outside of the door and a sliding lock on the inside of the door of the garage because I could break into it. That's how bad it was. And I was living in like this horse trailer with blankets because like my ex wouldn't let me come in the house, the dope house he's staying in, and I'm out in the winter, like living really, really rough. And I can remember like just being like, you weren't supposed to be living like this, you know. And during that time frame, obviously I lost the right to speak to my kid. I can remember my son when I first got out of jail, and I was allowed to talk to him, ask me, "Mommy, when am I coming home?" And I can still replay that in my head, like remembering him saying all that stuff. And I lost the right to talk to my kid right soon after I got out of jail. My mom and her wife also blocked me. Like the phone numbers I called from, they just blocked them. They wouldn't answer the phone. And they had them in North Carolina. And they knew I couldn't come to North Carolina, and I knew I couldn't come to North Carolina. You know what I mean? I was on probation, and I always had warrants, and they did what they thought was best for my son, and I understand that. They were trying to provide him stability that I obviously couldn't give, and I was in and out of his life, and he didn't deserve that. And he didn't deserve what I put him through for 5 years neither. I drug him through the dirt with me.
Yeah.
But throughout my addiction, I probably overdosed about 25 times. And the last time I'd overdosed, they took me to jail or court, and they put an ankle monitor on me and then let me out. And this is during the time where I'm like, I'm not supposed to be living like this, right? I'm not supposed to be doing this. But you know what? Let me go buy this 8-ball of meth. I'm going to go buy an 8-ball. And then I'm going to go with this ankle monitor on. And I'm going to go to Meigs County and go get my phone and call Athens County and make sure it's okay that I go get my phone from the prosecutor's office because they took my phone when I OD'd. So the Athens County's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, told my ride on the way, we're going to stop and get an 8-ball. So I'm like taking this detour through Meigs County, Oh, they'll never know. That's how in denial I was. Like, they're literally tracking you.
Yeah.
And so when I get there, I remember telling my ride, here's a little bit of dope if I don't come back. And I remember going into the store, and I'm going to only put this part in here too because it plays a part into when I came into treatment and how sick I still was. I went into the store and got this ring, and then I went to the prosecutor's office, and he just arrested me right on the spot. And he met me at county line, took me to Athens County, and they took me to jail. Now, throughout all that time that I had my indictment, they let me in and out of jail, if I had to guess, like 21 times or more. Just, I wasn't a violent offender, so they didn't keep me. Like, they would put me in there, arraign me, let me go. Put me in there for a couple of days, let me go. And then you got the height of COVID during this time frame because I got my charges in 2017, 2018. and them trying to catch me, and then in and out, because they don't have nowhere to put me. So they kept me in jail this time. You know, things must have simmered down just a little bit. And I would like to backtrack a little bit because I left this out, and it's actually really important because it plays a factor into my recovery today. When I was in jail, one of those times, I was so sick that one of the girls said, "All you got to do is jump from the second balcony of the jail, and you can get out."
No.
I was like, you know what? That is the solution to all my problems today. That was the solution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I stood up there for about 2 hours staring at the TV below me, and I was dope sick. And in my brain, I was like, you're going to get out, and you're going to get pain pills, and you're going to be okay. And that's exactly what I did. That's in my insanity. The insanity telling me to jump. 17 foot.
Yeah.
And I fractured my back. So I went from a Blennis hospital to Grant Hospital, and I had a compression fracture in my L1. So the cops followed me up there. You know, they're with me or whatever. I'm handcuffed or whatever, and they can only stay up there for so long. And finally, they released, like, let me go. They had to go back to the jail. So I get up thinking I'm gonna leave, and I come out of my room, like, and I can't walk on my left foot at all. At all. I couldn't put any pressure on it. And I'm in the psych ward, and I'm like, well. And I remember this lady coming in and asking me, she's like, "Can I ask you a question?" I was like, "Yeah." And I still remember this. She said, "Are you suicidal?" And I said, if I was suicidal, I would have jumped head first, not feet first, because I'm not trying to die. I was just, you know, in that moment in life, that sounded like the solution. But it plays a factor into my life today. My consequences of my actions. So the judge that I had is really pro treatment, really pro rehabilitation. My charges were committed under the influence of, I was under the influence of black market Xanax or something. I don't know. Something that you buy on the black market. I have no idea what it was. It could have been, who knows. And so he's like, you can go to treatment. And the stipulations of that is you can go to treatment, but if you mess up treatment, you have 10 years to run consecutively with no early release.
What?
And I'm lucky I didn't go to prison. And I think just during that time period, because COVID was kind of still a thing I went to treatment January 21st of 2021. That was like when I first got the treatment, you know, we were still in the red, like we were still doing in-house groups. Yeah. I would say if I would have got my charges earlier and they would have caught me, I would have went to prison because I was convicted of all of those charges, all of them. And not only that, I caught 2 more charges in 2018 to have to do the same thing, identity fraud and theft, you know. So I took the treatment. At the time, it wasn't because I wanted to go to treatment. I just wanted out of jail. I wanted anywhere but there. But when I got there, it wasn't anything like I thought it was going to be. It was actually a really great house, really great people. I'd never seen people show you like love and compassion and like just asking you, how are you? You know, like I'm like, is this real right now?
Yes. Let us love you till you can love yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, it's very, very true. And in the beginning, I was still only there to manipulate. I can I just did things to get by, to get out of there, because I was pretty smart at like just manipulating things to make it be what I wanted it to be, to get out early. And I did complete treatment early. And I was scared to death when they gave me my date. And I was just like, I got to go to transitional. I can't go home. I can't go home. Because then again, I have nothing. I have no car. I have no job.
Yeah.
And where I lived at, there's nothing close. It's like a 20-mile radius to a city to find a job. And when you have 21 felonies, it's really hard to find a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went to transitional, and then I moved to, that was in West Union. And during that time frame, I had like this temporary sponsor and inpatient treatment, which was really cool because she like took me to the lake, to meetings and like the Dollar General and stuff, and we would read out of the book, and that was really cool. And I just every time I just wanted to be there because I wanted to be there. Like I started working spiritual principles into my life. Health and wellness was a really big thing for me. I worked out every day religiously. I gave up my phone time to work out. I did that. Transitional too. I worked out every day religiously until I left there. And this is how hard-headed I was. I was like, I was only court ordered 2.5, so I'm just going to leave ASA and I'm going to move to Portsmouth. And so I did that, being stubborn as I am, and I call my insurance and do all those things. And it was fine that I moved to Portsmouth, but it wasn't fine that I didn't report my location. So I was sanctioned by parole. But he said he was just going to transfer it. He said he just needed to sanction me to transfer. I was like, okay. So I finally get me a job at like 8 months clean. And I'm working at Buffalo Wild Wings. And I was really proud of that. My parents really did a lot for me in early recovery. It was really hard in the beginning for them. And it was really hard for me too. I ended up being allowed to talk to my son again, even though he's really into video games, so there wasn't much talking going on. But I still got to see him and talk to him, and that was a slow process, which was great. And my mom brought him up one time to see me. It was a short visit, but I got to see him. And then I went down and saw my son in North Carolina, and that was really cool. Like spent like 9 days down there with him, and it was like we never missed a beat. And while I'm in sober living, I can remember I had the spiritual principles taped to my wall because for the longest time I'm just like, you know what? I don't work NA and I don't work AA and I don't do these things. And it took somebody saying to me, well, Amanda, you know the spiritual principles are in the step work, right? And I was like, no, because I've never been to treatment before. So, no, I have no idea that they're in there. I don't know, So I was like, okay, I could probably do NA. So I tried finding a couple different sponsors. I probably had like 5, and it just didn't work out. And I still went to meetings and stuff like that and surrounded myself around like-minded people. And then I got a job where I work at now. And I just started setting goals for myself, man, and focusing on what I needed to focus on. I really wanted to get my son back in my life. My mom made it very clear once I was clean that she wanted me to have him back. So that was a really good goal to work towards. It gave me a lot of motivation because he's all I have left of his dad, So I started working towards all these goals, and I got my license back, started getting my life together, getting all the little things that you should have in life that I lost. And I finally moved out
Little
of
to some, but big to us.
huh?
Yeah.
I said it's little to some people, but it's big moments for us.
Yes.
It
You
really
start
is.
learning how to actually adult,
Yeah.
be an adult. You know what I mean? Like that's so big when you get into recovery and you've done forgot all those things, or how some of us didn't even learn them until we were,
Yeah.
already in adulthood, and we was already back to, addiction and took all that from us, and we stayed like we were back when we were 12 or 13. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be an adult when you're already an adult and you should already been an adult, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
It's
Because
freaking
I entered treatment at 28.
yeah,
And
30 something.
I got a job at the company I work at now, and I'm still here. I've worked here for 4 years. I have a sponsor. I work steps. I switched to AA instead of NA. But what I wanted to bring up was that ring that I said I got before I went to that prosecutor's office. I was so sick in treatment that I wore this ring on my pinky, and it had like some fingerprint on it. And I would tell everybody it was my son's fingerprint, and it was not my. So I have no idea whose fingerprint is on that ring. Okay, and I still have it somewhere, but I don't know whose fingerprint is on that ring. Have no idea, and I don't even know where I got it from. But I ended up getting my own little studio apartment. Unfortunately, I got in a relationship at 10 months clean. And I was in that relationship for 3.5 years. I have a beautiful daughter out of that relationship. That's 2. My son's 14 now. So I had that studio apartment for maybe like 7 months, and then I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment because my mom was really talking like, hey, like we would like to give you Kingsley back, my son. And I'm like, okay, I gotta have a bedroom for him, right? So I do those things. But I actually ended up moving out of there before I moved into the house I live in now. And I ended up getting custody back of my son after 7 years of not having him,
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, and during that time period prior to that, before getting him back, um, I got my CDCA. I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get that because of my charges. I had to get a CQE. But I had a lot of motivation, man. It was like once I got started, nothing could stop me. Like all you have to do is communicate what you need, and the worst thing somebody can tell you is no.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned out of my recovery is that I can communicate anything, and the worst I'm going to hear is something I don't want to hear, or the word no. And that the only person that's holding myself back is me from reaching my goals. I've learned to have a lot of acceptance in things, compassion. I applied a lot of self-discipline to my life to get where I am today. A lot of patience, a lot of willingness, and a lot of honesty, because honesty is something that I never was. I was never honest. I was like the biggest liar ever. And I think I was talking to my dad the other night, and he said, "You're a good liar even at the age of 8." He said, I'd tell him something and he would believe it. Like I told him, yep, mom said it's okay. Yeah. And mom never said anything about us going anywhere. That's what he told me. I was like, well, I started young. But today I'm really, really big on being honest because I know if I'm not honest, that I'm going to go right back down that same lifestyle. It is one of the biggest things I have to apply to my life.
Yeah.
Another thing that I have to look at today is like, are my intentions pure for when I'm interacting with people, or do I have an ill intent for why I am engaging with somebody? What is there something I want from them? Because if there's something I
Motives.
want, yeah,
Yeah, for
if,
sure.
if there's something I want from somebody, from my experience, karma is real, and I've always paid for it if it's not for the right reason.
Yeah.
And my recovery has taught me how to share strength with others. You know, we only keep what we have by giving it away. And I truly believe that, because we give our experience, our strength, and our hope away to others so that they can recover, even outside of
Yeah.
work. You know what I mean? Like, just being there,
Yeah.
genuinely being there for people, is a big thing for me. So, like I said, I was with a guy for 3.5 years. We're not together now. We have a good co-parenting relationship. It was rocky at first. It was the same. I realized after we had our daughter, it was kind of just like that emotional connection was gone. And there again, I am in a relationship with someone in my household that doesn't talk to me, doesn't, you know what I mean? And I was just like, I can't do this. I can't go down the same path
Yeah.
anymore. So we have a good co-parenting relationship. I went through school. I ended up getting my associate's degree in human services.
That's awesome.
I have sealed, I sealed my record in Athens County. I expunged my record in Athens County Municipal Court. I expunged my record in, Wood County, West Virginia. And I'm actually working on a governor's pardon for my felony charges
What?
out of Athens,
Yes.
because I've already filed it. So they said about a month and a half ago, to give them 6 months and to check back in with them. So I'm going for it so I can get my charges expunged.
Yeah. That's
Worst they can
awesome.
tell me is no. You know, worst they can say is
No.
no. We're not doing this. So
Yeah.
I just went for it. I worked for a great company. I've worked in a lot of different places within this company. I ended up getting my LCDC2. I have my SWA. I'm in my bachelor's program right now. And I owe that to all
So what do
kinds
you
of
think?
different. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I owe that to all different kinds of things. Like, I owe that to health and wellness. I owe that to self-awareness. I owe that to the help of the different sponsors that I've had. I owe that to the supportive people that genuinely showed me compassion and love throughout my recovery, that are still in my life today, that are here to support me every milestone I have. They're here for me. I owe it to NA, AA, all of the above. Like, it's not just one thing. I owe it to a lot of different things. Self-discipline is probably one of the biggest spiritual principles I've applied. And for me, the spiritual principles are my higher power. They are what keep me being the best human being that I can possibly be. So I don't just owe it to just one thing. I owe it to a lot of different things. A lot of people believing in me, showing up for me, my family, my mom, my dad, her wife, my friends. So I owe it to a lot of different things. The people that genuinely show me they love me and care for me. So yeah, I'm grateful today, man. Like, you have bad days, but emotions are temporary. You just gotta kind of let it pass.
They are for sure. They are for sure. I haven't heard that since like treatment. That's good though. But it's very true. They are temporary, and you just gotta let them go.
Yeah,
for a
I
while.
also
It's okay to stay
like,
clean for a minute, but not too
yeah.
long.
And, through that, the breakup, because I went through that sober, I'd never went through a breakup sober. But I think it was the
Oh,
easiest breakup I've ever went through in my entire life. I was just
Yeah.
like, this is really
because you
weird.
have control.
Yeah. But so I still go to mental health counseling. That is a huge part in my recovery. I have a great mental health counselor. So that's still a part of my recovery. Like, that's something that needs to be there. And I just use it as frequently as I need it.
So, which spiritual principles mattered most early when everything else felt fragile?
Which spiritual principle did I what?
Which ones mattered? What spiritual principles mattered most early on when everything still felt fragile?
Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness.
There you go. That's it. You have to remain those
If you
three.
apply
Yes.
those three, you're applying all of them.
Yeah.
You can't apply any of the other ones without those three. I am a firm believer in spirituality and the way it can change your life if you allow to have those principles in your life. They're what I live by every day. And some days I fall short, especially with patience. That's probably the worst one I have. I have the worst patience. Okay.
Girl, I used to pray for it every single day. God, give me patience.
Yeah.
Mainly with myself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had to.
What does choosing a new way to live actually mean in practice, not just words?
That's a good one.
Finding a new way to live. It's showing action behind your words. So it's not the things that you say, it's literally the things that you're doing. So it's like making that those living amends too, right? Because those are by like me showing that I'm doing something different. So I've had situations where I have triggered like my dad, like certain things I say that has reminded him of the old me. And I have to remember not to respond the way I used to respond and reassure him that that's not who I am today. Because if not, then that's not no if I were to respond the same way I used to, it's not no behavior. It's the same behavior that I still have.
Yep.
So I had to be mindful because I took a toll not just on myself, but especially those around me that were really close to me. And I have to be mindful of that, especially of my dad, because I drug him through the trenches. Because he just would not give up hope or something. He just would not cut me off. He did at the very end, but he just wouldn't.
I think as a parent myself, and you as a parent, like, it'd be really hard to cut your child off all the way around. But like, that I know, like, I'm big of like, don't enable. But like, when it comes to your child and and that your child is okay, and like, it'd be hard not to help your child. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I don't know what. That's the best thing Mom did for me. Really.
I mean, it is probably the best thing that you can do for your child, but all I'm saying is it would be really, really hard, as a parent, especially a parent that's like, hey, I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And even being like still like in the recovery side of it, I will have a hard time.
Yeah.
I would probably do it, but it would be very difficult.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult.
I won't know until I get to that point in my life,
Yeah. I'm a worst case scenario type person, so.
Yeah, me too. I got a plan. I got a backup plan and
Yeah.
another plan and a plan for that plan. Okay, all the time at every point in my life.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Worst scenario type person. Like, I'm gonna play it all the way through. Like, this is probably what could happen, and if I think this could happen, that's like really, really bad, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing
So-
it. Yeah, not doing it.
I really want to touch on this. So your relationship with your mom, like realistically, your resentment, it was justified, right? But the moment you chose to forgive, what did that feel like?
Mm.
I'm still trying to forgive.
Mm.
I'm still working through that. There's aspects I can work through, and then I work through it with my mental health counselor, and then there's times where I'm triggered by old words or words not matching actions or something, and then it brings
Yep.
back a flood of memories for me. So it's something I'm still working through, something I'm hopeful that once I continue to work the AA steps with my sponsor, that I'm going to be able to get through. Because I've brought it up to my mom a million times, and the thing is the sorry isn't good enough, and that's not her fault. That's something inside of me that won't let go. That's
Yeah.
me. It's not her. It's something inside of me that's just not letting go of whatever it is.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
Trauma bond?
it could be, but to me, like, this is just my perspective. But like, if it was me in that situation, it would probably mean for me, like, you left me when when I needed you. Take my child from me when I need my child. You know what I mean? That's what I would be. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying that to you, but I would.
Yeah,
that's why
for
it would
me,
be hard for me to forgive.
For me, it's not even that, because I know she did the best thing she needed to for my son,
Absolutely.
especially having him now
It'd be me
and
blaming you.
not seeming like anything skipped a beat. It's more the abandonment of me that I'm not letting go of. I have a really hard time of letting go of that, and she said sorry. You know what I mean? And it's something that I
Yeah.
have to work through. I can say the relationship is just going to be strained. I have to remember that, unfortunately, and I hate to even say it because I know she may be on here, but I'm just going to say it. And it goes for both of my parents, not my stepmom, because she's not an alcoholic. They have their own problems. And when you have those kind of problems, it shuts off your emotions, and then you're not emotionally available. And I'm learning to try to accept that for what it is, because my mom, um, they've literally financially been here for me the whole way. Like, they helped buy a car for me with my dad. They've helped me with numerous things in my house. Like I said, both my parents have always been there financially for me if I need them. And maybe that's just their way of showing love, and so I have to learn to accept that maybe that's just what that is. I do know I'm trying to work on relationship with my mom. We talk occasionally. I love her very much. I love her wife very much. I miss them. And I think the distance alone also plays a factor in
Oh yeah, for sure.
not having that relationship. And I know it's why me and my dad have always been super close. But we've worked through stuff, you know what I mean? And me and my dad have worked through things, and he listens when he's, he listens, and he changes things that hurt me, just like I have to change that hurt him. It's a
Right.
two-way street. It's not a one-way street. So,
There you go. Both have to,
Yeah, so
both
it's
sides
just
have
something
to be willing for sure.
yeah. And I think I've got to the point where I'm just so hyper vigilant and so focused on somebody being honest or me being honest that if I see one little infraction or somebody not being honest, like I'm just on it.
Yeah.
But I know she loves me. I know her wife loves me. I know what they did for my son is what was in the best interest of him. I'm just glad that we all came to agreement, for him to be back home with me. Because they did what they needed to do.
Awesome.
And they took
Yeah,
very
that's
good care.
awesome.
They took very good care of him. He didn't, there's nothing he went without, and there's still not. Because I buy Christmas, and it's like they buy Christmas, and it's like Santa
Yeah.
times 3, You got way too
Yeah.
many presents under the tree because Mimo and Nana. So
Yeah. 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 My kids are the same way. My sister, they'll buy them all Christmas over there, and then they come here and we got them Christmas, and they just got Christmas everywhere. So yeah,
they just,
I wish I was that lucky and got all that Christmas.
I just got to learn that other people show love in different ways, and
Very
and
true.
it's just something that I'm working on. I'm still working on. So yeah.
Just still learning. We all are. You know what I mean? Like, there's some expectations, right? You know what I mean? Can't set expectations. And, one in a situation or people or things to go our way. We just have to just accept them for what they are and either continue to work through them until we do get in a good headspace with it. It's that's what things control me anymore, but it happens.
Yeah, it does from time to time.
It does.
From time to time.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So a lot of people struggle with the idea of saying jail saved them. How do you reconcile that truth with the pain of incarceration?
Jail most definitely saved me, because I would have never brought myself to treatment. I think I come down here, I want to say I come down here right before I lost my son for maybe 4 hours. Okay. And I left. So I don't count that as treatment, because I was not even, I went in that house and I said, nope. And I took our stuff, and I did not, no, we didn't stay at all. And then I also tried to go into this, what was it called? The breakthrough program at SMC. Back when they had that, like some detox thing they had going on at the hospital.
Yep.
But I only did it because my PA wanted me to, not because I wanted to actually be there. And when I left, I was still day sick, so therefore I got high when I left. But jail gave me nothing but time to think. And I think that the last time I went to jail, the only time, I think that I never asked either of my parents to bond me out of jail. I think I just asked them to buy me food, because I knew, like, that was it. I knew that the judge had previously said I could go to the landing and not the counseling center. And I was hopeful that he was going to let me go to the counseling center, and he did. And without the criminal justice system, I probably wouldn't be here. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd probably be dead. I'd probably be dead, because I'm so stubborn and hard-headed that unless you lock me up and give me time to think just with myself, and you tell me how I'm living my life, and you really got the keys to the door and I can't get out, I'm not gonna listen, because I'm still that way.
I think the criminal justice, it's also, for a lot of us, it's some of the first people that truly hold us accountable.
Yeah, and I truly need that. And I'm one of those people that it's really hard to hold me accountable, or I make it really hard still for anybody to hold me accountable. Okay. Because I think I know everything, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm, I think I know everything, and that's something I still work on too. But, yeah, I needed them to hold me accountable. And the crazy thing is, you know, once I got a parole officer and whatnot, and I actually met them, like, they're very cool. You
Yeah.
know, but I wasn't getting high, so I was like, okay, this is okay. I can do this.
Yeah, nothing worried about. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not getting high. I don't have to run.
Yeah. And I can show up to my appointment times and, you know, pass a drug test.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And they treat you different when you're sober. You know what I mean? Like,
You know, and I'm be honest with you, the program that I went through gave me a lot of hope as well. They taught me a lot of daily living skills, a lot of life skills,
yeah.
a lot of parenting skills, a lot of anger management skills. They even when I worked here, they even when I worked here, they paid all of my fines so I could get my CDCA. Like I had like $3,500, and you know, just deducted it from my check. Like just those little things that make you like, okay, somebody actually sees you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it really makes a difference in somebody's
does.
life when you show a little bit of care, and if you're able to do something and help somebody, you help them.
Yeah.
You know, and I do the same thing today and outside of work. When I can help somebody, not just financially, but even emotionally, mentally, whatever it is, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like anything I can do to help somebody, I'm here because I know the struggle.
Yeah.
And
You're
I've
doing it
been
right
down it.
now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? You're sharing your story. You're doing that right now. You're helping somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just another vision of hope that we've had on this, you know, our podcast, you know, since we started this. This is what, 31?
That's
31
awesome.
so far. And
That's awesome.
you know, you're helping somebody out there right now and watching. You know what I mean? They're like, well, hell yeah, she can do it. I can do it, right?
Man, and the sky's the limit. As long as you are doing things for the right reason, not cutting corners, not taking shortcuts, doing things the way they're supposed to be, not the way you want them to be, and just surrendering to the fact that you don't have control over the entire universe. And things are not always going to be on your time.
Yeah, that shit's hard to accept, isn't it?
It is. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh,
My phone, my screen locked for a minute, and I had to unlock it.
oh,
I'm sorry.
He said that shit's hard to accept. I said, yeah, it is.
It is. Like the world doesn't revolve
Not
around
being
me.
able to, yeah. I'm okay with that. I just want to control every little aspect of my life.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like,
I remember the first time, I don't remember what it was about. We was in a group and she was like, you know, Matt, you're not that fucking special. And I was like, oh, the audacity of you. You know what I mean?
The audacity, yes.
do you know who the fuck I am?
Huh?
Yeah. I said he was probably like, do you know who the fuck I am?
Yeah. Yeah, because we all think like we're something. Like you don't know, okay?
Yeah, you don't know me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know me. We come in, and
Yeah,
another thing I know
That's
that a lot of people struggle with, and like I still struggle with, is just the fact of trying to be vulnerable. We have to learn to be vulnerable and communicate. And even people that aren't addicts have a problem with being vulnerable and communicating. Okay. So it's a real tough grind out here when you learn how to do those things. And you're like, why don't these people understand? Because not everybody's taught the things that we learn, you know? And just keep doing the next right thing, man. Is what I do. I just keep doing the next right thing, setting goals for myself, and reaching them until I get to a point where uh, I'm comfortable how I can take care of me and my family. You know, that's
There you
the end
go.
goal. It's just being able to. My next goal is to be able to buy a house. You know, and my goal mark is 3 years from now. It's not anytime soon. It's 3 years from now. I plan to buy a house.
But it's attainable. It's an
Yeah,
obtainable goal. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
I think
we're
I
still trying
think
to
it
work on
is.
our credit. So, and it,
Yeah,
yeah, I get it. You know, we're working on our credit and we're trying to pay off some old stuff that we got ourselves into when we were, you know, in active addiction and,
yeah,
you
Those,
know,
smart goals.
yeah.
You know?
But it's an
yes,
obtainable goal. It may not be
yeah.
right now,
Smart
but if
goals.
it's 3 to 5 years, yeah,
Yes,
for smart goals.
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Absolutely.
There you go.
That's it.
But
But
yeah, definitely feel
uh,
you with you know,
you know,
the
and
goals.
I think about my kids and their future and saving money for them, and both of them having accounts so they don't have to struggle when they get to be adults to like start college and or have a car and
Yeah,
just the little things that they're going to need to survive later on in this world because they're my future. You know what I mean? Um,
there you go.
I can't say that I do everything for my children because my son was never enough to keep me clean. Uh, you know, I have to want to stay clean for myself, and I do that with applying spiritual principles. That's just what I do.
That's awesome. All right, what would you say to someone facing charge right now who feels like their life is over?
Someone that's facing charges,
Yep, right now, and they feel like their life is over. What would you say to them?
man, I'd say just surrender and stop trying to
Mm,
control what you can't control and take accountability for what you have done because that is the consequences of our actions and your life's not over,
mm,
but it's just going to take a little time to rebuild it, you know. I mean, like uh
mm,
I
yes.
just recently sealed all my stuff and expunged all my stuff within the last year, you know, so that's 4 years it took me to build to get to the point where I could do those things. Um,
Yeah.
so things just take time, you know, you got to be patient and just take your time, do what you need to do, get a job, take that little job that's only $10 an hour, you know what I mean? Get you a little $500 a month
Start
apartment,
somewhere.
you know, start somewhere, or
Yeah.
you're just going to stay in the same pattern of insanity and you're getting nowhere. So, this is what I say all the time. If there is a problem, there's a solution. And if there's not a solution, there's not a problem. So, um, if you got a problem, there's a solution if you're willing to find it. And it's might not be what you want it to be, but it could be somewhere in between. And it's not really the worst answer either.
Yep.
But it's like, where's your
Yeah.
willingness at? You just got to surrender, man. Let go of that shit. Find you some spirituality because I'm telling you right now, changing your whole, it'll change your whole mindset.
And good people. Find you some good people.
Yes, people too. Absolutely.
People. One more. You want to read that one? I want to know the answer to this one. One more.
If you could leave listeners with one truth, especially someone standing at the same crossroads you were at, what would it be?
If I could tell somebody one truth, will you repeat that?
If you could leave the listeners with one truth, especially someone standing at the same crossroads you were standing, what would it be? One truth.
One truth. One truth is just to never give up, man. You don't have to give up. Um, your life's not over. Uh, you don't you don't quit unless you stop altogether. That's one truth.
Mm,
You only give up when you stop doing things to better your life. And you just got to keep pushing, man. Just keep pushing forward. Sky's the limit. Anything you want to obtain, you can obtain.
Yeah.
And at this point, my crossroad, if somebody's saying same steps as my crossroad, I'm proud of them, because it's a long journey.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, you can do anything you want to do. You just got to do it. You just got to put your body in motion and do it. Speak with other people before you do things and do it. Make sure you're not making some irrational decision, and talk to your friends before you start doing something.
Don't act impulsive.
Yes.
Call your sponsor.
Yes. Call your sponsor for sure.
What is like to act on impulse? And I know how easy it is to act on impulse. Don't do it.
Yeah. And
talk
if you
to
don't
somebody before you make that irrational decision.
Yeah.
Is there any more? There's plenty. Man, just don't give up. Reach out, I can't. This says that there is proof that consequences don't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes they're the beginning if you're willing to choose differently.
That is absolutely true. Because I've had a lot of consequences in my life. And somehow, some way, like I'll tell you this. It took me like 6 months to get into Ohio University because I had to write it was like a 5-page essay on like all of my charges. And then I had to get letters of recommendation. And I had to do all these crazy hurdles just to get into the college I wanted to go to. But I didn't give up. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like, and throw it down. I learned early on, I think, especially with health and wellness, self-discipline. Like, I'd do anything I want to do as long as I put my mind to it. I really think health and wellness helped me a lot. I know my sponsor I have today helps me a lot. She really holds me accountable. But she does it in the most kindest way, too. She just, and nobody really holds me accountable. So I'm really grateful for her.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for all of my friends that I have. I'm grateful for everything in my life. I have a lot of great people in my life, a lot of great people in my corner, and a great family. I have a great family, too, that supports me,
Well, we're super proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All families have their issues, but I wouldn't trade mine for the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. It was amazing. Thank you for your words of wisdom and hope to the viewers still listening. And hopefully that, who that's out there still suffering, they got something from it and it helped them in some way. I know actually it did. There's no hoping to it. It did, and we appreciate you so much. And I will make a shirt on your quotes and I will post it and tag it. Appreciate you. I don't know. I got lost for a second. You have Monday. We have somebody coming on Monday, Spencer.
Yep.
So we have someone Monday. We're booked all the way up until March. So if you guys know anybody who wants to come on and, tell their story, talk with us, chat with us. Hopefully no more technical. We're going to have technical difficulties along the way. It's fine. We went out, we came back in, we went out, we came back in, we came back in. But you know what? It worked out, and you got to deliver your message, and it was awesome, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. You want to say it?
Yeah.
So Monday, guys, I'll say it. Monday we got Spencer. How do you say his last name? Couch.
Yep.
7 to 8. Don't forget all episodes are loaded up to the YouTube podcast channel on YouTube, and go follow the page. And if you know anybody who wants to share their story, please have them reach out. We have them scheduled. Thanks, Carol. She said, great podcast. We appreciate you. We're on every Monday and Wednesday with new stories, from different people, from different walks of life, you know.
Every other Friday, Raw and Real
Yeah,
Friday.
Raw and Real Fridays. We do that. We come on, we just talk and chop it up about real life stuff. You guys can join us every other Fridays if you guys want. There'll be links on the pages from bottom page to join. But we'll be back Monday. And everybody have a great weekend. And if you guys know anybody who wants to come on and share the story, just get a hold of us and we will get them scheduled.
Yeah.
Monday, guys. We'll see you guys Monday.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.